Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast, and I hope you had a very enjoyable 4th of July, and hopefully it was safe. We did see some scattered thunderstorm activity last weekend into the early part of the week, and some of that developed on Monday into some severe weather from west central portions of Iowa eastward through northern Illinois, and we've had some flooding rainfall, but its origin started essentially in the Broken Bow area, and thankfully we escaped the vast majority of the flooding and significant severe weather damage, and it shifted to our east. And in the absence of that moisture, we still had impressive June precipitation totals. And if we go and look at the graphics in regards to the precipitation, the one thing I'll draw your attention to is the northeastern part of the state has seen anywhere from 8.5 up to 17 inches of moisture during the month of June. And then we had a broad-based area of 8+ inches to approximately 10 inches across a good portion of central Nebraska. The driest area of the state was the western part of the state, essentially the Scottsbluff area. We've seen anywhere from 1 to 2 inches, and as we got to the eastern portion of the Panhandle, looking in the area of about 2 to 5 inches of moisture was very common. In terms of surpluses, we're looking at broad-based surpluses across the state. 9 inches surpluses in central portions of central Nebraska and northeast Nebraska, but everybody was pretty much in the 3 to 6 inch surplus range. And if you think about this in context of precipitation, we were essentially looking in the northeast part of the state. 60% of the annual precipitation that we normally get fell in 1 month, so very impressive totals. In terms of the upper air models, what we have going today is a thunderstorm complex that started to develop over north central Nebraska and eastern Nebraska last night is now shifting over into Iowa. We should see some residual thunderstorm activity this morning before it pretty much shifts east of the state. We may see some redevelopment late this afternoon, but it looks to be very isolated in nature. The warmth starts to build in. Looks like just a chance of isolated thunderstorm activity across extreme northeastern Nebraska, but for everybody else, if we do see anything, it'll be very isolated in nature. But temperatures are definitely going to zoom back up into the normal to above normal range. We'll be looking at upper 80s, low 90s across northeast Nebraska, all the way to the upper 90s across southwest Nebraska. As we go into Monday, we see that the frontal boundary is situated so that it just crosses northeast Nebraska. We're looking at hot conditions across the southwest with near triple-digit readings. We'll be looking well into the 90s for most areas of the state. Now we start to see this front sagging southward as we get into Tuesday as a cold front approaches. That may generate some thunderstorm activity across northern Nebraska, and some of this may sag southeastward during the overnight hours. And by the time we get to Wednesday, that cold air will still be trying to push a little bit farther south, and that may push the thunderstorm activity into northern Kansas and southern Nebraska. And as we get into the late afternoon, we'll start to see this ridge starting to build backwards, so we may already see some thunderstorm development across the western part of the state shifting eastward. As we get into Thursday, this looks like the best chance for scattered thunderstorm activity and severe weather as we get a warm front moving across the state, generating very good precipitation from west to east, and that'll clear the state on Friday and bring hot conditions into the state. So if we look at the temperature forecast, there's a chance of thunderstorms in there pretty much the entire time, but the best opportunity really is next Thursday statewide. If we look at the 8 to 14 day forecast, cool and normal conditions from next Thursday to the following Tuesday. In terms of precipitation, we're looking at 2 distinct areas above normal moisture.